The Attorney General in New York City, went to our biggest stores. So they went to Target, Walmart, Costco in America, and they pulled off 800 supplement products off the shelf. 800, okay? And they tested those products for purity, potency, label claim, you know, are the products what they say they are people telling the truth? And this is what happens. 80% of the products pulled off of the shelves in America failed label claim. These are actual letters from our government saying cease and desist selling adulterated or mislabeled herbal dietary supplements. 8 out of 10 of the products pulled off the shelf at Walmart, Target, Costco, Walgreens in New York, real well-known American brands, failed label claim. And I remember getting a phone call, people saying to me like, oh my gosh, did you see the news? This is awful. This is terrible news for the supplement industry. And I was like, this is fantastic! This is the best news ever! Like, I'm ready to have a party. Why? Because I spend close to $1 million a year in third-party testing. Because network marketing companies are scrutinized more than any company ever in America. So there is no way our label claims cannot be accurate. But your country, my country, Europe, Korea, China, supplement regulation is very low and it's not enforced. Which means I can make products, I can sell them to you, and nobody ever checks me. But in network marketing, because you have, and here's the consequences of retail products. So these companies, 80% of them got these letters. So this is all that happened. Walmart goes to the shelf, pulls off the products off the shelf, sends them back to the company. The company gets to refix them, remake them, and then put them back on the shelf. In network marketing, it could negatively affect all your business. So we do something that the majority of other supplement companies never do. We test raw materials that come in. Every raw material that comes to our facility comes with what's called a document called Certificate of Analysis. And every time that document comes in with the raw material, we test it ourselves that our test matches their test. Then we make the product and we test it again to make sure that everything is up to par for label claims. And because we are pharmaceutical grade facility, we are required to adhere to the standards of over-the-counter drug registration. Over-the-counter drug registration in America requires a very minimal percentage. So if I say there's 100 milligrams of grapeseed extract in a product, because I'm a drug facility, I am only allowed to vary a small percentage this way or a small percentage that way. Let me explain why. If you go to the drugstore and you get pain medication, headache medication, that medication, if it was misdosed in a capsule, could destroy your liver, could harm your stomach, could really cause harm in the body. So over-the-counter drugs have strict regulations about every single dose in every single capsule. The supplement industry does not follow that regulation. We do. And we do because we want to, one, because we ship our products all over the world, but two, make sure that when someone spends $1 with us, they get that in value, okay? This is the president of UST. UST is our main manufacturer. We are a direct partner with them. And I said, hey, what would you say about our products, Brent? And he said the RX supplements, particularly the optimals, have been subjected to more testing and validation than any other products we have ever produced. We have verified the label claim of each active ingredient at multiple ISO 17025 accredited laboratories, leaving nothing to chance. What does that mean? If a farmer says, I'm selling you grapeseed extract, I need to verify that he's really selling me grapeseed extract. If a farmer says this is fish oil, I need to verify that it's fish oil. When the government pulled off 800 products off the shelf, do you know that there were companies saying they were selling fish oil, but it was almost all olive oil? Companies saying that they were saying grapeseed extract had no grapeseed extract? We're talking people spending a lot of money on products and the active ingredients weren't even in the product. And it does give the supplement industry a bad name because then people see varied results. The reason why we have doctors all over the United States who use our products is because we can verify every single batch for label claim and potency all the way up to the expiration date. And that costs a lot of money, folks. I mean, it costs millions. Because I'm not the only one that does it. We have third-party accredited laboratories that do it as well to make sure to hold us accountable. So let's just take a quick look at the line of products. And I know we're going to touch on Restorix and Rejuvenex. I spend so much time on the other one. But let's touch on MOA just really quick. Does anybody in here use MOA? All right. I will say something really interesting about MOA is more testimonials come in about MOA than any other product in the Nutrify line. I did not want to make MOA when we made it. We had a team come in the Netherlands that had a liquid supplement. I didn't want to do liquid supplements because liquid supplements are powders reconstituted with water and boiled to death, and it is very expensive juice. So I was not a fan of the liquid supplement industry. So I said to the group in the Netherlands, no, we're not going to do it. I don't want to do it. If you don't want to come to us, we're not doing liquid supplements. And then my partner, Fred Cooper, got on the phone with them and said, Deanna, we'll make you one in 3 months. And I was like, oh, crap, right? And it took us 1.5 years. Because we had manufacturers who wouldn't even make our product. Because everybody was using powders, and I was shipping in black seed from the Middle East. Mango from Madagascar. Like, we were using like real food again. And every manufacturer kept telling us like, nobody does it this way. Nobody does it this way. You know, and I was like, that's great. Then we'll be different, right? You're so difficult. Thank you. You know? And then we put so many restrictions, like no real high temperature exposure, and we knew that we wanted MOA to be special. I will tell you, it is special. We get a lot of things back from it. I'm just going to touch really quick about the main, really some of the main active ingredients in MOA, so you know these are superstars, these mushrooms. These mushrooms are all grown in my home state in California, not far from me. They're grown indoors, and they're grown in a very specific way. They're all organic medicinal mushrooms. These mushrooms are grown in a patented way. No other mushroom like that in the world. It's a proprietary fermentation process. It's called mycofusion. It is the fusion of the mushroom and then what the mushroom is grown on. I want you to understand something about mushrooms. Mushrooms should always be organic because mushrooms are like sponges. Mushrooms absorb everything that they're grown into. Typically in the industry, all those mushrooms I showed you are grown on sawdust. Oh, there's no nutrient value to that. That is how it's done in the industry. Our mushrooms are grown very particular way. Our mushrooms are grown on this Peruvian purple corn. What is that? It is corn from Peru. Yeah, it's a purple corn from Peru. It grows purple. It is a very unique corn that adapted to the mountains in Peru. Has anybody been in Peru? Yeah. By show of hands? Yeah, I just got back. I hiked the Inca Trail. It almost killed me. But I ate Rejuvenex at a time. I made it. I will tell you that I live at sea level. So when you go to Peru, oh, it's high. It's very high. And so the purple corn, I went to the farms. I mean, I had purple corn. I was taking photos for social media and purple corn. The purple corn there has a high antioxidant level. The University of Ohio studied purple corn compared to other like dark fruits and vegetables in the world. And purple corn by far came out as one of the highest antioxidants. So what this mushroom company did is they bring in the corn from Peru, they ground it up into a soil, and they grow the mushrooms on the purple corn. And when you test the mushrooms, they've absorbed all this amazing goodness from the purple corn. And it makes what's called the mycofusion. That is the fusion of the nutrients from the purple corn into the mushroom. No other mushrooms in the world like it. They're the only ones that do it. It's a patented process grown indoors. But I will tell you, the special mushrooms in this product, this is one of the most special. Maitake Gold is a mushroom that is in the product. It's an extract of maitake. There's hundreds of maitakes out there in the market, but this one in particular was developed in Japan. This is the most expensive raw material of any raw materials in all of RX, okay? Literally ounce for ounce, it is almost the same cost as gold. And our manufacturers, when they saw invoices on it, made us sign specific waivers for this particular ingredient. It is patented, and that's the guy who did it, Mr. Dr. Namba. And he is incredible, and I'm going to tell you about this really quick. When we pick our raw materials, we're looking for raw materials that have solid scientific data. This particular mushroom has been studied at the University of Louisville, Kobe Pharmaceutical University, and Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And it was actually given an investigational new drug number by the FDA. Why? Because it's so incredible what it does for the body. Does anybody know what that is?
Blood cell.
Cancer cell. That's a cancer cell. Every one of us in this room has cancer cells in our body. Everyone, including me. Every one of us. The difference is our immune systems are strong enough to fight them off. So why do we develop our products? We develop our products to be preventative in nature, right? We want your immune system to do its job correctly. So let's give it all the support we can give it. What's interesting about this particular mushroom extract is what all the clinical studies showed is it activates our macrophages. This is a macrophage. And a macrophage is like the garbage collector of the body. It goes through the body, engulfing all the bad stuff. And so why that makes that mushroom so powerful is because in activating your macrophage, you're activating your immune system to do what it does best. Which means going through the body and attacking cells and bacteria that should not be there. Another primary, I'm just touching high level just for time-wise. I spent way too much on Slenderize. And I'm going to just touch on these things really quickly. We also have a patented ingredient, and we did a recent 20% increase on this in our bergamot. Our bergamot trade name is called Bergavit. And Bergavit has undeniable clinical data on its ability to support healthy cholesterol levels in the body. And I want you to know that there is a clinical dose in MOA of the Bergavit. Yeah, it's what it does for the heart and for cholesterol levels. All right, what are the main benefits of MOA? When you look at MOA and you're talking to somebody about why they should take MOA, if you did just the slightest bit of research on the mushrooms, you would be incredibly impressed on their ability for neurological support, nerve support, cellular support, blood sugar support. But here are the primary top-level benefits of MOA: antioxidant, anti-aging, stress support, immune support, cellular support. All right, I know I'm moving through these fast, but there's just no way to get through everything, okay? So let's talk about Restorix. Restorix was designed to be taken ongoing if you need to. Someone who should be taking it ongoing is someone who lives in Los Angeles, New York, Beijing, anywhere that they have air pollution issues. Well, I cannot say any of that, okay? But sounds good. Any air pollution issues. All right, let's talk about what makes Restorix so unique. First of all, when we were how we pick raw materials, I can get zeolite right in Utah, where our manufacturing facility is. I mean, literally an hour away from our manufacturing facility. But we bring our zeolite in from Austria through customs, total pain in the butt, all the way to America. Why do we do that? We do that because the zeolite that we found literally has more clinical data than any zeolite we can find on the market. It received what's called medical device licensing status in Europe because of all the clinical studies that was done on it. The clinical studies are over the top. They make an enormous amount of drug claims, so I can't talk about them legally because the drug claims are extremely high. That's why it was given its drug licensing status in Europe. But let's go through a few of the benefits in zeolite. We've got zeolite, and then we have the other superfoods like spirulina and chlorella. Let's talk about how it works and why we do it. First of all, we talked about why someone would take it every day, because environmental toxins. When we look at what's happening to our environment, pollution from the environment ends up in our food supply, ends up in our fish supply. Someone who's eating a high level of fish, it's like if they're eating fish every day, I would say, oh, definitely be taking Restorix every day. Because whether we want to believe it or not, we've messed up our oceans, and we just have. And you can test now the fish that come from almost anywhere in the world because of the way they migrate through the world with radiation exposure, heavy metal exposure. They've got them in their bloodstream. Some fish are higher than levels than others. I was in Victoria, Canada not too long ago, and I was out with a marine biologist, and it was when the killer whales migrate and they come back. And when they come back at the end of the season, they greet each other. And I happened to be there this amazing day when they're all jumping up and greeting each other, and then the marine biologist ruined this beautiful day by telling us what was happening to the pods. The mothers and the fathers are dying at an alarming rate. And when they do an autopsy on a dead killer whale, they're finding extremely high levels of heavy metals and PCBs, which are plastic chemicals in the whales. And the reason why the mothers aren't dying is the babies are cleansing the moms through breastfeeding, and the babies and the males don't have a way to detoxify, and they're eating the smaller fish in the food chain, right? Here's just the truth. If you eat fish every day, you're consuming heavy metals. You just are. And if you think farm-raised fish is better, the farm-raised fish is all fed antibiotics. You know, farm-raised salmon, they actually give red dye number 40. Just recently in the United States, most people didn't know this, because farm-raised salmon is gray flesh. And so nobody wants gray salmon. So what farmers were doing of salmon in America is they were giving salmon artificial red dye to turn their flesh pink. Most people didn't know it. In America last year, legislation required them to put it on the packaged food. So you see an itty bitty teeny line that says red dye number 40 on salmon. So farm-raised fish has its own set of problems. But just be aware there's things we can do to help protect us. But our human body is unable to detoxify a lot of the new chemicals that are in our environment. Why isn't it illegal? Yeah, it's just the way it is. Why isn't it illegal to use blue dye number 20 in M&Ms? I don't know, you know? It's just people like colored foods. You know, kids like these things and nobody wanted gray salmon, and so they were using artificial dyes to fix it. All right, let's talk about what makes zeolite work, okay? Zeolite is an interesting mineral in the world, and that is a negative ion. Zeolite is formed when lava hits salt water, okay? And it creates almost like a honeycomb structure. And what's interesting, and when you look at zeolite under a microscope, it's got all these little cracks in it. And being a negative ion, it means it has what's called an ionic exchange. It acts like a magnet, and it goes after positive ions. And when it gets exposed to positive ions, those ions get stuck in the cracks of the molecule, right? That's the basic science of how it works. What is a positive ion? Mercury, lead, PCPs. Yes, correct. Your positive ions are the negative compounds that we get exposed to. Zeolite was first used in Chernobyl. And what they found in the water is they can dump large amounts of zeolite into the water. It would absorb, because the radiation was a positive ion, into the molecule of the zeolite honeycomb structure. They could scoop the zeolite out of the water and it would clean the water. That is why you will find zeolite in our air filter. You will find zeolite in the purity filter because of what it does for heavy metals. Zeolite works in your stomach and your digestive tract to attract and grab any positive ions, but negative chemicals, trap them within that molecule, and excrete it out of the body, okay? That is the basic science on how it works. This is what zeolite looks like, and it has vacant spaces, like I said, or cracks, cages, that allows for the positively charged ions to be attracted and trapped and eliminated from the body. Great thing about zeolite is there's no negative side effects except that it does its job so well. If someone takes pharmaceutical medicines, because some of them are toxic, they have to take it 2 hours in between. It's also, this is one of our best products for dogs. So dogs and cats or small pets that have that might have cancer or other types of issues like that. There's been some really great research done on our particular zeolite and small dogs with great results. One of the other primary ingredients, one other quick thing about zeolite is it also has the ability to lower the pH of the body. You lower the pH of the body, you have more oxygen, and there is a lot of scientists who now believe that a lower pH, an alkaline body, makes it very difficult for disease to continue, to present itself in the body. An acidic body isn't a body that disease likes to thrive in. So anytime we can lower our pH and have more alkalinity in the body, the better. Chlorella is also one of our other primary ingredients in zeolite, giving it its green color. Chlorella is also a binder of toxins in the body. It also can help people with bad breath. It has some good results there as well. Chlorella gets absorbed into the body. Zeolite does not. So chlorella works on a different method of action than zeolite. Also helps with restoring pH. So chlorella is an algae that is gathered, dried, ground up. And ours comes from in California, from Washington. And it's extremely clean. All right, a few other things about Restorex really quick. There's 3 primary reasons why we developed Restorex. One, for Asia. People living in cities with a lot of air pollution. We know not only is air pollution a contributor to cancer, to upper respiratory issues, allergies, diabetes, inflammation in the body, weight gain. So we wanted to give somebody a daily protection. The best way to take Restorex in that situation is have a scoop in the morning and have a scoop at night. So you keep it in your body 24 hours. You don't like the taste? Squeeze some lemon juice into it with a little bit of water. Sometimes when people make it cold, we use a slender ice shaker cup sometimes. You can even put ice in it if you want. If you like it better cold, with a little bit of fresh lemon juice, and almost everyone will take it that way, okay? It is best taken alone. I'm always going to give you the best, most ideal way. If you forget you need to take it with food, that's fine, but it's best taken first thing in the morning and then right before bed. The second reason why we made the product was for athletes. Zeolite, when our product was tested, our specific product on Austrian Olympic athletes, has the ability to lower lactic acid. So reduce lactic acid in an athlete, their recovery is dramatically improved. Our zeolite has shown a 21% reduction in lactic acid production. That is huge for recovery. So 21% lactic acid reduction. Lactic acid is what makes your muscles sore. So it is a fantastic recovery drink for competitive and non-competitive athletes. We have a professional handball team out of Australia on it. We have a professional soccer team in the Netherlands on it. We have professional triathletes competing right now, you know, like super famous ones on it right now. And we're seeing really good results with recovery. So very great for the athlete. The third reason why we created it was for a weight loss plateau buster. Because remember, the fat in your body, you open up the suitcase, right? We want to be able to, the toxins that end up getting into the body through fat loss. Something that's happening with Restorix that it was not designed for, but we're seeing incredible results now in Japan and in France, is for smokers. So I am not a fan of smoking, as you can imagine. And so we have run competitions within RX in Japan, most recently, for people to quit smoking. And we have them use Restorix as their support. Because through the detox of smoking, it can be tough when someone quits. They get skin, headache, all types of reactions. We are now have 2 centers in France, 1 in Belgium. We're seeing really good results with people who want to quit smoking, using Restorix as support for that. And so for anyone who has friends that want to try to kick the habit, Restorix is great. The other product I would combine with that is Vanoli, because smoking creates a lot of inflammation in the body, and Vanoli is a very powerful anti-inflammatory agent. So if you want to help someone, you know, get off smoking, Restorix is a good thing for that. Before we move on, because I know Restorix is important to you guys, before we move on to the rest, any questions on Restorix? You can pop up to the microphone if you have one, and I'm happy to answer.
Hi. I want to know about children with Restorix.
Yeah, children and Restorix. Okay. Listen, we never recommend any child under 2 on any of our products. Because really they should be, you know, breastfed, very clean. They don't need much in their life, especially if the mother is healthy. With children, however, if I take my children into Asia, or there's a, like right now, I don't know if you've seen the news, but my state is kind of on fire. And all the smoke and pollution happening is affecting my children as well. So my son is 9. I give him a quarter dose of Restorix in orange juice. He won't take it any other way. No matter what I do, bribery, he will not drink it. And my teenage daughter can take it as a regular adult. So we in America, we've had kids with the age of 5 and up taking about a quarter of a dose. Yep, especially if they get exposed to things. Super great way, just put it in their juice.
Hi. Hi. I would like to know if there are organized tests for the level of absorption of these supplements, hopefully by 3rd group. And the 3rd thing is, I would like to know the same thing about the level of cleaning of the metal.
Yep.
And the 3rd question is, how do you keep, if it's not by a powder and you mix it with water and you take the raw material, how do you keep it good for such a long time?
For Restorix?
For Restorix and other.
Okay. Okay, great question. First of all, yes, we do have all those tests, and I can only give them to people with medical licenses. Here's the problem, is the tests make a tremendous amount of medical claims. And it is illegal for me to give it out, because it's drug claims. And if you start prescribing and saying things that a doctor should say, you're going to risk your business and my business. And so in the supplement world, we are limited to what we can say. And we can say this supports that, and this supports that, and this supports this. Where in the pharmaceutical world, they can say this treats that, and this cures that. And it is not, it is totally illegal in the supplement world. However, anybody with a medical license, I can give the actual studies to. Because then as a doctor, it's not illegal for me to give them the research that goes through it all. But other than that, they're all medical claims. As far as stability is concerned on our products, on how do we know it's good, all of our products go what's called through real-time stability and advanced stability testing. Advanced stability testing means the product goes into a chamber, and it's a chamber that kind of advances time, and it is tested during and after that time period to make sure the product is still viable. And when we say viable, we mean potency and levels are still accurate, and no microbial testing, no microbes are growing in it as well. So they have to pass all of that through what's called chamber testing. And then we keep what's called lot numbers off of every single thing we make, and it sits on the shelf. And that goes through real-time stability testing. So once it's sat on the shelf for a year, or it's sat on the shelf for 2 years, or it's sat on the shelf for 3 years, it goes back into the labs who test identity, microbial, mold counts, potency levels. All of that is redone on what's called real-time stability. Every raw material we get not only gets tested on finished product, now I'm talking that's finished product testing, but every raw material that comes into us from the manufacturer has individual testing as well. And so we guarantee stability and potency all the way up to your expiration date on the bottle through all of the stability testing we've done.
First of all, thank you. I would like to see this data. And the second thing is EcoSap, or companies like that give supplementation as well. They give the percentage of absorption.
Sure.
Now,
Yeah, let me address that.
First of all, I'm an MD, so I would like to get this.
Sure, easy for me to give to you.
But they do give it, and it's a big argument about putting their products next to Aric's product.
Sure, let me address that. So there's a few tests or a few claims that we do not get involved in. Absorption rate is one of them. And this is why we don't talk about absorption rate, because you know as an MD, everybody's digestive tract is different. And if I fed you all, let's say everybody in this room, I'm gonna feed you 5 oranges, every one of you. And we're gonna measure vitamin C absorption. Every single one would be different. So when supplement companies are talking about natural ingredients and how much they absorb and how much they don't, or when they break down in the stomach and when they don't, or how they get absorbed up through the digestive tract, most of it is not provable, in my opinion. So we use what's called a pharmaceutical cap on our capsules. So our capsules have what's called an absorption breakdown formula. It shows on average how fast they break down in the stomach, how quickly, then how, they move into the digestive tract. What our scientists have found is it's very difficult to give a percentage that works for everybody. So we've never gotten involved in that. We've thought about it, but if I say, oh, hey, I'm using all these whole foods and I have this absorption fraction of 32%, for person number A, person number B, it could be 10%. And so we're finding with natural foods, if I was in the synthetic category on drugs, it's more easily measurable, and in natural foods, it's not, it's across the whole board. So we've never got into absorption fraction. I can give you data on capsule breakdown, on how fast the nutrients are open and free into the body, but I don't have absorption fraction.
So that's the main issue that will help us know how much they're out.
Sure, I understand. I just don't think they're accurate.
So how would they know other than clinical evidence that this remedy or any other remedy works?
Yeah, on Whole Foods, it's on Whole Foods absorption rates. Most, yeah. How do we know that it works, right? When you deal with absorption percentages on Whole Foods, they are across the board. So if I get somebody who's got a great digestive system, they might have 100% absorption. If they eat it with food, their absorption fraction is going to change. If they take it on an empty stomach, the absorption fraction is going to be different. So we have never got involved in absorption numbers because the variables are huge. Everything from, are they drinking alcohol? Are they taking pharmaceutical drugs? Are they eating food with it? Are they, is their digestive tract impaired? All of that affects absorption percentages. What we do is give recommendations. If you want to get the most out of our products, eat it with food, because there's other nutrients that help absorption rates. And then we choose the raw ingredients that get the best absorption ratios, the highest ratios. So when I'm talking to physicians and we're comparing products, I might just be comparing our MagnaCal D to somebody else's calcium. And I talk about the difference in my raw materials, not my absorption fractions. Because most companies use calcium carbonate. It's very difficult for the body to utilize calcium carbonate. We use calcium citrate and calcium taurinate. Why? Because the research shows on average, you're going to get a significantly higher absorption ratio because of the type of raw material. So when I'm talking to physicians, I get into the very differences of the raw materials instead of a general number that just gets absorbed by the population because those numbers are not accurate. Does that make sense? Yes, and I can give you the clinical data that we have and then testing because you're an MD.
לא, מחר זה לרופאים.
Hi there. What you are saying that it's the Restorix, we can use it every day without putting a difference and without stopping taking it?
It was designed to be taken daily, yes.
Daily? Not only 30 days and then 6 months?
Yeah, it was designed to be taken daily,
Okay.
if you want to. So if I lived in Beijing, I would be taking it every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other question is, somebody asked, what about children that are taking a lot of prescription drugs with the Restorix? Can they take it?
You remember, in 2 hours. You always have to put 2 hours in between Restorix and prescription drugs.
Okay. You prefer it will be in the morning or?
Whenever it works with the prescription drugs, because everybody's prescription drug schedule is very different. So all I tell them is like, hey, just make sure you put 2 hours in between.
I understand that Restorix will have to take on an empty stomach.
You can take it with food, however, especially if so we have people who take a lot of pharmaceutical drugs.
Okay.
Restorix will give you the best results on an empty stomach, but it still works if you take it with food. So when you have people who take a lot of prescription drugs and their schedule is very messed up, then I say take it whenever you can, just a 2-hour window between the drugs. And then whenever they take it, they can take it. Okay. No, best results empty stomach, but it does not have to be. Yes.
If someone still can't stand taste, is it possible to put powder inside the capsule?
Yeah, we thought about that. The problem is people taking too many capsules. And then people complain about just taking too many pills. And so when someone doesn't like the taste, really try it with lime juice or lemon juice. And usually most people can take it.
Yeah, I know, but I have customers that puke because of it. That's why I asked you.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah, sorry.
So, no,
יש לי גלולות נגד הקר.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so especially if the capsules dissolve fast. Yeah. I mean, Fred Cooper, our CEO, hates it. Hates the taste, right? He's like a white food eater. and if I mix it with lime juice and ice and water, he'll drink it no problem. Especially if I dilute it a lot. So he puts like and then he can drink it over the period of like an hour. And he's okay with it. When we were filming some videos, one time, he had to take like 5 doses of Restorex in one day. Made me laugh a lot. It was fine. It was fine. Yeah.
We have the video.
Yeah.
If you take Slenderite, if you use the Slenderite, how much time you need to wait from take Restorex and Slenderite?
Oh, just wake up first thing in the morning. If you wake up first thing in the morning before you shower, do anything else, and just get used to taking half a scoop then, and then 30 minutes later, whatever, you can start your Slenderize program.
30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes to an hour, no problem. Yeah, just make it the first habit. Hey, do you guys know that you can brush your teeth with Restorex? Yeah, it helps whiten teeth. And you know that actually, if people have acne, you can actually make it into a mask as well. Yeah, it works really good for that. Yeah, just a little bit of water into a paste, and you can put it on your skin, let it dry. It helps people with acne. Something about zeolite really quick.
We do it with coconut oil and
So I want you to know that zeolite is used externally for wound healing. Wound healing. That's why it works so well in acne. Is there's really good data that shows, especially wounds that are having a hard time healing, zeolite helps with that. And so people who have acne issues, you know, they can use zeolite as a mask on their face, the Restorex, and they'll see some good results. There's all types of little fun, different ways to use zeolite. And why we were talking about brushing your teeth, in case I don't remember, for those of you who have people who have gum disease, BioPro-Q, which we'll talk about a little bit, but you can open the capsule of BioPro-Q, put it on your finger, and rub it on your gums. So we have dentists in the United States who utilize that for gum disease a lot and have seen good results as well. Okay.
I have a general question about the products. Sometimes we are stuck with some products that we didn't use or we forgot, and the expiration date actually passed. So my question is, if it is originally sealed, for how long is it safe and effective to use after the expiration date?
Sure. So all my products are tested to continue to meet label claim to the expiration date. After the expiration date, most of the products are still safe. It's just I cannot guarantee potency anymore. Yeah, and so it's not like your Venali. I mean, Venali is so stable. Restorex is really stable. I mean, zeolite has like no expiration date ever. But the reality is we only can guarantee label claim. Remember, I have an OTC facility, which is an over-the-counter drug facility. And my expiration date is directly tied to label claim. Is my vitamin C still at those milligrams at that date? Is my calcium still at those milligrams at that date? The expiration date doesn't necessarily mean the product is bad, it just means I can no longer guarantee label claim.
Right.
Hope that makes sense. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask, you can talk a bit more about the stories and stop smoking. How did it work?
Sure. First, somebody has to want to stop smoking because it's not magic, right? So when anyone, remember, nicotine is an addictive substance, right? It also builds up into the body with lots of other chemicals that are found in smoking. So anytime somebody stops a behavior, whether it's stopping drinking, stopping smoking, stopping sugar, there's going to be a lot of emotional issues that come with that. So everyone is slightly different. The folks in Japan did not use the patch. They just decided cold turkey to go off. Through nutritional support with the optimals, Restorex for the detox to help with what is it called when somebody goes into, the word is, no, go into withdrawals. Okay, the withdrawals and dealing with the chemicals in the body, Restorix was getting good use. On average with the smoker, we had them probably double their dose for the first 2 weeks if they were seeing really bad withdrawals, to be able to deal with all the different chemicals in the body. They're going to, most smokers will see a severe amount of coughing, increased coughing when they get off smoking, surprisingly, as the lungs try to clean and heal themselves. That's why we double dose them on Venali as well. So the combination of Venali to help with the upper respiratory issues from smoking, Restorix to deal with the withdrawals and the chemical release from the body, and the optimals for nutritional support. But they have to have the, it's not magic, they have to have the desire to stop smoking. This just helps them through it to lessen the symptoms. Make sense? Okay.
What about people who are sick that they can use it? There's something special, different.
What kind of sick? And are you talking about Restorix?
Yeah, or use the Restorix if there's any different ways amount.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard question to answer because it's so general. Whenever somebody is really sick or they have severe health issues, we always say, talk to your doctor, right? Because we're not doctors and we don't prescribe. And so we always want them to check in with their physicians, you know, to check in and let their physicians know what's happening on their program. I had a conversation earlier during the break, you know, with Slenderize. One of the biggest issues with Slenderize is type 2 diabetics end up overdosing their blood sugar medications, so they have to work with their doctors, you know, to help with their medication. So anytime you have somebody making a dramatic change in their food patterns, their health patterns, and they are on prescription medications or they suffer from any type of diseases or issues, they should check in with their doctor for feedback. But for the most part, there's not many people who can't take Restorix. They need to just have a window of time in between taking their drugs and not.
What about pregnant or nursing?
Yeah, no. We haven't done any of the testing, so we just say no. Not pregnant and nursing women, the products that we say you cannot take is Restorix. We don't want you taking Slenderize for obvious reasons. And the last one that we don't want you taking is Rejuvenex, unless of course you're a soda drinker or a coffee drinker. The reason why is we want the best always, and caffeine is not necessarily great for pregnant women. However, if you are used to drinking soda, coffee, or tea, Rejuvenex is a better option. It won't harm you. We're always just looking for the best option. So pregnant breastfeeding, no on Restorix, no on Slenderize. Rejuvenex as a replacement for coffee or highly caffeinated teas or sodas is a much better option. Oh yeah. Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Hi, by the way, without the Rejuvenex, I can't wake up in the morning.
No problem, then you can continue to take it.
Yeah, even if I don't drink the coffee or the soda. I do have a question about the Restorix. Does it take the, I forgot the word, toxin from the blood cell, for example, if you get vaccines, or only from the stomach?
Yeah, the zeolite works only in the digestive tract. Zeolite works in the stomach and the digestion system. Chlorella makes its way into the body. So zeolite, the primary detoxification ingredient in the product is stomach and digestive tract. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay?
So I have two questions.
Okay.
First one, you said that the zeolite cleans the water from heavy metals, right? So if there's someone that wants to take the Restorix with water, does the Restorix still effective in their body if he puts it in the water?
Okay, great question. Yes, unless of course your water is very heavy in heavy metals. So I mean, I don't know what tap water is like in Israel. I haven't done the research here yet.
Not the best.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good? No. I don't know, I haven't done it. So if the water was highly polluted, right? Remember, the zeolite only has so much room, right? So once all these cages are full, it no longer does its job. So if the water was heavily polluted and they're taking it with a lot of heavily polluted water, then it probably wouldn't be as successful in the body. But if that's the water they're drinking, I would still want them taking it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second question, if there's someone that has epilepsy,
Yeah.
So there's three stages of the epilepsy. The person is on the first stage with no medicine, and how does the results help in this case?
I don't know. I haven't done any specific research on epilepsy and Restorix, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. And so I don't have the answer to that. Sorry.
So do you advise to try?
Listen, anybody who has an issue in their body will benefit from good most of the time, benefit from good nutritional support, right? And there are a few categories. People who have organ transplants, we don't put them on our products because our products work too good and they're on drugs that lower their immune system so their bodies don't reject their organs. So there's very few categories of people who we say, no, don't take the drugs. But first, I can't imagine. I would have her talk to her doctor, him or her doctor. But I have never done any research on that, but they should be okay. Usually, anybody's body will benefit from nutritional support.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then I always say you took it half cap. But we took it cap, full cap.
Yeah.
Say half cap, we confused.
I just say half cup in the morning, half cup at night. So you're taking 1 full cap a day.
So it's better to do
It's
it.
better to do half and half. So I'm always going to give you the best way possible. So when you do half and half, you keep it in the stomach and the digestive tract longer. So it does its job over a longer period of time, right? Versus just taking it once a day. Good question. Yeah, you get better results from it.
Okay. People that have challenges with mental issues,
Yep.
she's asking if there's anything in the storage that can affect positively on mental illness
Yeah,
or
we haven't done anything on that. So I don't have any particularly data on
especially
that.
for kids.
What do you mean? Like what type of mental issues? Like attention deficit issues?
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have any. I have no data on that whatsoever. Yeah, I don't have anything on that.
Hi there. My question is, which products do you recommend to combine with slender rice to get the best results?
Okay. Do you know what's funny is that we're like 20 minutes past our time. So I am going to answer that question, and then I'm going to do speed elevator training on Rejuvenex and Phenoli, okay? And we can stay here all day. It's funny. This morning I was like, oh, will I have enough to talk? I'll have plenty of time. All right, what do I recommend? For best results on Slenderize, in the clinical trial, we saw best results when combined with the Optimals, Omega Q, Rejuvenex. When someone was 10 kilos or more overweight, we always recommended Restorex. Obviously, Pure Nourish powders are a really great, easy way because they're low glycemic, and they're fast, and they're convenient, right? But they're not necessary. Rejuvenex was probably one of the biggest players in the weight loss because of the mental and the energy. Because you have to remember that weight loss is a mental game. And a lot of people who have a lot of weight to lose have very low energy. So, and Rejuvenex can be therapeutically dosed. What does that mean? Like, it means that I have at one time taken 8 capsules. in one moment. It's all whole food based, remember? So it'd be like sitting down and drinking 3 espressos. You know, is that gonna hurt you? No. And the difference is we use green coffee bean extract. So I am a coffee fan. I enjoy a good coffee, even though I know it's not good for me. Because when you roast a coffee bean, you blacken it, you release compounds, one in particular called castol. Yes, and that compound in the coffee is like a free radical in the body. It's not good. Does that mean I stop drinking coffee? No, coffee's my vice. I like coffee, okay? I drink coffee. The beauty about the caffeine in Rejuvenex is from green coffee beans. So it's unroasted coffee beans. And because it's combined with chamomile and L-theanine, you don't get the crash from Rejuvenex that you get from coffee and energy drinks. So, and as far as weight loss is concerned, that product is particularly the one that probably gets the most benefit. If someone's just gonna add 1 product, someone's gonna add 2, I'd have them add the Optimals. For Rejuvenex, as needed. As needed. Whoa, whatever's needed, 4, 8 a day. Yeah, I mean, listen guys, I travel all over the world. I got in last night, I did not sleep, my child was awake all night. Would I potentially take 8 Rejuvenex today? Yes. And I'm not drinking with a coffee, just saying. But so you take it as needed, but it can make a huge difference in someone's mental attitude and energy levels on weight. Okay, we're gonna take one more question and then I'm gonna bust through this before we say goodbye, okay?
Do we have anything that contains pectin and can Rejuvenex, not Rejuvenex, Restorex take with pectin?
Can Restorex be taken with pectin? I don't know, I don't know. I'd have to read into it. No, and I don't have that in my products. So, and I don't have an answer to your question. That's a unique question. I thought I heard them all. Never heard that one. Yeah, and it probably can be taken with that, no problem. I just can't say with absolute certainty without reading. Okay. Bust through Rejuvenex super fast, everybody. Like I just said, Rejuvenex can be taken therapeutically. Rejuvenex absolutely can be given to high school kids, college kids, good results and focus. Rejuvenex was designed to compete with the energy drink market, but also adding all of this to help with immune system support as well. The real key to Rejuvenex is literally, Rejuvenex is like 28 energy drinks in a bottle. That's what it is. When you give somebody a dose of Rejuvenex, it's like, you know, when someone says the cost, I'm like, just go buy 28 energy drinks. Good ones, right? And see how much that costs. You know, it's funny. Like, this is what these 2 ingredients do together. It's the best image I can show, right? Caffeine wakes you up, L-theanine chills you out. So that's what makes Rejuvenex so interesting. Is that Rejuvenex will give you the energy, but it's a calm, focused, not a jittery, heart-raced energy. So we've had a lot of people who said, oh, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, I can't take it. And when they try Rejuvenex, you know, I say it's like an energetic calm. I don't know how else to say it. Okay, I'm gonna jump through over to Benali really quick. Benali. Our grape, there's about 300 different grapeseed providers on the planet. And the price ranges for $450 US a kilo to $30 a kilo. Huge variance in price. We get our grapeseed extract from a company called Diaana in Italy. It's a very select group of Chardonnay grapes. They are one of the only pharmaceutical grade facilities for grapeseed extract on the planet. They have published more than 200 peer-reviewed clinical studies on their ingredients and its anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, bacterial effects on the body. Their product is the most expensive grapeseed extract that we could buy, but it works. So the reason why a lot of our doctors and physicians like it is because they see consistent results with the product. Literally same ingredient, different prices. And what's the difference? The difference is one is tested and verified, and this is what's called standardized. In the herbal industry, this is I'll talk about this tomorrow, but this is very important, especially our physicians. If you grow a tomato, say you grow a tomato organically, and you water it, you take care of it, and you pick that tomato when it's ripe. I grow a tomato with artificial fertilizers. I grow it green, and I gas it to turn it red. We set both tomatoes on a table. What are they called? Tomatoes. And to all of you, if we were to ground up that tomato, dry it down, put it in a capsule on the label, it would be called tomato. Do you think there's a difference in those two tomatoes? Dramatic. If we took that tomato into the lab, there'd be a huge variance in nutrients in that tomato. In the herbal industry, it's called standardization. So the reason why I could go to India and I could get grapeseed extract at $20 a kilo is because it's a non-standardized ingredient. That means every time that grapeseed extract came in, the active levels could be all over the place. 2%, 5%, 15%, never know, because it's non-standardized. A standardized grapeseed extract, we use standardized herbals, folks. That is a big difference in the cost in our products. Standardized means every time it comes in, the active ingredients that actually have the anti-inflammatory effect on the body must be at the same percentage every single time. So what Indiana does, and the reason why it costs $450 a kilo, is when they dry their grape seeds, when they ground them up, they test them, and sometimes they have to mix with other grapes on the hill that are producing different levels to get the standardized active. Standardized in the herbal industry is the key to the difference in whether something works and something doesn't. Because just as our tomatoes are still called tomato on the label, I promise you, the lycopene level in the tomatoes, one might be 1%, one might be 20%, but they're still called tomato. So the difference in the cost of our raw materials is because we buy standardized raws. Because we often buy patented raws. Like the bergamot I showed you earlier, Bergavie, patented standardized. Our mushrooms, patented standardized. Our grapeseed, patented standardized. You know, and that's because we know that the standardized herbals are what's going to get consistent results across the board on the product. One thing I want you to know about grapeseed is this phenolic can be this can be what's called therapeutically dosed. Okay? This product, if you know you have kids that are coming down with cold or flu, it can be therapeutically dosed. One of our doctors on our scientific advisory board, I just saw her a couple weekends ago in Utah, and her mother-in-law, 80-year-old woman, got bit by a dog on the face. And the doctor said, we're going to have to do a skin graft. They went in and they stitched it all up, and she's going to have to come back once it's healed. We'll probably have to do a skin graft. Now, I knew our doctors therapeutically dosed phenolic because our vitamin C is what's called a buffered form of vitamin C. It doesn't hurt the stomach. If you use the cheap form of vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid, it can hurt the stomach and cause gastrointestinal distress. But we use a buffered vitamin C, which means you can therapeutically dose it. She gave her 80-year-old mother-in-law in the hospital, unbeknownst to me, 12 phenolic a day. She was opening them up and putting them in her shake. You would not believe the healing. The combination of the bioflavonoids, grapeseed, and the vitamin C has a dramatic effect in collagen in the skin. That's a side effect of phenolic. Phenolic is the #1 product sold in China, and it's sold as a beauty product. It was not designed as a beauty product. It is designed as an anti-inflammatory, so it's good for people with allergies, cold, flu support, but because of how it crosses the blood-brain barrier and what it does to collagen in the skin, it's really fantastic for the eyes and for skin rejuvenation. And now, what was that? Yeah, absolutely, for the eyes. And so we are now getting, I'll see if I can text her to get the photos and have them at the event tomorrow I'll see if, and find me and I'll show you the photos. But we are getting photos from all over America now from people who are going in and having surgery and different things about the improvement in healing. And it's funny because they took the doctor that saw her mother-in-law, and the healing was like, I don't know what you're doing, but you have to sign me up with your products. Because of her age, her healing was expected to be slower, and they expected to do a skin graft, and it was just amazing what happened. So if someone is in injury, has had surgery, cold or a flu, Vanoli can be therapeutically dosed. The products that cannot be therapeutically dosed, because we're talking about it really quick, are optimals. You never want to increase the dose on that ever. Magnical D, because your body can't, these are water-soluble vitamins, so if you take too much, your body just flushes them out it goes with no harm. Some of the minerals are not like that. So you cannot updose those, and that is the optimals and Magnical D. But BioPro-Q, RestoreX, Rejuvenex, Vanoli, Omega Q can all be taken what's called in a therapeutic dose if somebody is having a healing crisis or needs extra support and help. MOA can also be. It is all whole food based, so that can be updosed as well. Okay, we are over time, almost about a half an hour, so I am going to end with this. I was really lucky to be a part of some centenarian studies. These are people who live 100 plus years old, right? And the average 100-year-old, at least in the United States, Canada, Japan, is healthier than the average 70-year-old. And there's a 30-year difference in age. When you look at the things that they have in common, there are some basic things they have in common. First of all, they surround themselves with people, a good social support group, and they're positive people. Second, they do something to keep their mind active, whether it was playing games or cards or reading. They were all doing something with their mind. Third, they were eating small amounts of non-processed foods, keeping their immune system and body healthy. I remember Mr. Taguchi's 102 years old, and we said, what's the first thing you do in the morning? He's like, I open my shutters so my neighbors know I'm alive. and then he goes out and he eats food that he picks from his garden. Another thing that they have in common is they do something physical with their body. They're not going in the gyms, but they're physical with their bodies, right? We live in such a fast-paced world where we're busy, we have children. I mean, I don't know, I meet so many people who have like 5, 6, 7 kids here. I mean, you guys like to have kids. Like, that's a lot of kids. I can't even function with 2. You have 5, right? Yes, 5, it's kind of crazy. You know? Yeah. My family would love me to have 6, but I can barely handle 2. So 2's enough. But we have stress. We are overachievers. We have big families. And so we can't live these beautiful, peaceful lives that a lot of the centenarians around the world live. But what we can do is do something physical with our body. We can limit our TV and media. We can surround ourselves with positive people. And we can be preventative in nature. And all of the products in RX are designed for prevention. How can we support the body to be at its optimal? Obviously, I'd love you to all eat better and avoid sugar and no sodas. And I could spend another 3 hours just talking about the food you eat that has nothing to do about RX products if you gave me the opportunity to do so. But the products are designed to help your body thrive. If you can combine that with some little changes in your home and some awarenesses there, boy, we see amazing results. See people all over the world who get off their pharmaceutical drugs. We see people all over the world who say, I feel better than I did when I was in my 30s. We see people have dramatic transformations. And if you get one yourself and you feel different, you become a walking billboard. It's very easy to sell and talk about the products. Nobody can argue with me about the products. I know every little itty-bitty detail there is to know about them, right? And so it gives me 100% conviction and confidence. And if you're selling them, you should try them all. I know that it has been expensive getting products in here. And we're excited that we're doing new things to make it easier to allow you to really big market in And I appreciate that you all sit here so totally willing for now 3 hours. Can you believe I spent 3 hours? And I have so much more to say. I know 3 hours, and you've been remarkable. But I'll be back. We'll do some more webinars as we get products on the ground here. Our shipping improves. It will just increase the amount of information that we get you. We're never going to be short on information to give you. Quite frankly, we might give you too much when we should be just keeping it really simple. You know? Rejuvenex is so easy to sell. Slendorx is easy to sell. It really is super easy to sell. Just because people get results right away. You know? I didn't get a chance to talk any about skincare, nothing. Because I talked